Hey, Warren Whitlock here, Emerging Technologies Podcast. Emerging technologies are technological breakthroughs that are changing our life. And right now, life is changing exponentially. If you think that you can hold off a while on something, you're going to miss like a generation or two. We've all in our lifetimes been used to seeing Moore's law at work, where the computers get smarter every year and faster and cost less, get miniaturized. All those things have been going on, and now it's exponential. And so exponential means by a factor of 10, so that you add a zero to a number rather than just doubling it. And so that's much faster. I say if you were to start off walking and took 30 steps and doubled the length of each step, by the time you got to the 30th step, you would be, I don't know, halfway to the moon, to the sun, something like that. I can't remember the exact calculation on it, but because of the doubling effect, it gets there. Very hard for us to see. That's exponential. But then right now we're talking about a factor of 10, which is even more, which means that if you take one step, then the next step is 10 times as long. And the next step is 100 times as long. And the next step is 1,000 times as long. Each time adding it. I probably screwed up technically on what the definition of exponential is, but I wanted to emphasize that today. Remember, that's why we're here. The growth of things like AI is changing so fast. They say by a factor of 10 in 6 months, which means 10 times the next 6 months, 10 is 100 times as much. The AIs that are coming out just recently are just blowing me away. I sat down to do a little bit of research for what we're talking about today. And smart cities, by the way, in case you want to know whether or not the title is what we're talking about. Smart cities, we're going to get to that in a moment, but the research I was doing, I found that they've added some reasoning to the large language model chat I was using. And I wasn't expecting it. I knew these capabilities were out, but I wasn't expecting the one I was using, which actually went through 6 steps for me what research questions should be when I ask a simple question. Earlier in the day, I asked a simple question about a musician that my wife had on YouTube. And I thought, let me find out about Eric Clapton and whether or not they have a recording of him playing on stage with Carlos Santana. And it gave me all sorts of facts and figures about these two great guitarists and stories about where the names of the bands came from, all sorts of things. And then said, but there's no mention of these two ever playing your favorite song together. And that really made my day, guys. I saw Eric Clapton and Carlos Santana play on stage together once and play my favorite song, and there's no record of it on the internet. A rare day that I find something's not on the internet, but that was in the 80s, and I guess not recorded. But let's think about what this means for the future of our cities. Work together. All the parts have to interact. You have to get water and power to all the right places. You have to remove the waste from all the right places, and you have to make sure that even if somebody's driving on a road, that the traffic signals and signage match up to what the expectations are and what odd events might have. And we see that getting better and better. Definitely, it's so much different over my long lifetime. But right now, those things are changing extremely fast. It's been a common thing to go to trade shows and to see a section talking about smart cities. It's been some time they've been doing it. And this is the thing about exponential. When you take that giant leap that is 1,000 miles, and it's 10 times what yesterday was, which was 100 miles, which was 10 times what it was the day before. So a week ago, we were down to far under a mile. And a month ago, we were at taking just normal human-sized steps. And that's how fast things are changing right now. And so let's take a look at what's going to be happening in the smart city. There's a couple of ways to look at it. One is somebody decides I'm going to control the city whether that's the mayor, the president, the evil control freak, whatever it is, going to take control of everything, every camera, every switch, every light bulb, every motor that turns, everything like that, and be able to control them all. And that's a dystopian view of what could happen. Also, extremely hard to do to get everything coordinated in one place, because I think what we've learned is that no matter how you decide to do it, whether you like capitalism or not capitalism, whether or not you like progressive policies or conservative policies, whatever it is you're thinking of, and even if you take all those together, try to synthesize, there isn't a right answer. And this isn't something as small as a city. I like the city because a city is something big enough that most of us can comprehend getting it under control, or at least mostly under control. Whereas a country, a state, a province, a region, whatever, is hard to visualize how that works. When you get down to a city, it's things like we've seen a mayor come in and allow certain things to flourish, and all of a sudden the city goes from being run down to having a brighter future, always with plenty of problems left to solve. It's not, let's not talk about this being utopia, but how do we get it so that we're not thinking about things that are, so a couple of things. The obvious one we think of is the ability to police everyone with cameras, with facial recognition, social scoring points that tell you what, right to your cell phone, whether or not your neighbor's a good person, you can trust them, and who needs to be disappeared. Okay, again, that's the dystopian view of it. Some of that same technology, though, can help find a lost child, help you locate anything that's missing, and missing becomes a term that's not possible when there is something smart that the sensors know where you left your keys, and bam, you take care of it. I just got a new set of AirPods. I had not used the official Apple AirPods before. It was quite an experience. They know which device I'm listening to without having to switch them, which has been available for some time. I'm testing them for hearing application because they're going to be able to throw a hearing aid into that. But that's a different technology. But as far as the smart city goes, I realized how much more it can do on the Find My Device function that is on my watch, my phone, my computer, that, and now my AirPods, so that if I leave something, I'm going to get a notice. It's great because I tend to carry around a lot of devices and forget that if I'm doing something, I forget that I've left the AirPods in another location or in the car or whatever, and then forget where that is. Gosh, they don't have to do that anymore. They have sensors and tags to do that. But let's talk about what can help the whole city. Real-time traffic monitoring allows you to, there's a company right now, ST Engineering, I was looking at, their smart transport analytics will figure out where everybody is going. To ever notice that sometimes the street lights seem to work and you get every light green, and sometimes the opposite happens and you get every light red? Getting more people to get a positive outcome from that takes more data. Used to be that they would program it using timers, how long it should take somebody driving the speed limit to get from intersection to intersection. And those are mostly right, but they can be tweaked to do even better. I've used the example on this podcast before, but it fits in here. When you have automated cars, they're smart enough to be able to, you and I reach the intersection at roughly the same time. Let's say we're both going 40 kilometers per hour and we need to get through the intersection. Your car says, okay, fine, I'll drop by 1 kilometer an hour, and you and the other car can raise by 1. So it goes 39 and 41, and they zip through the intersection at the same time without hitting each other, planning for it before it happened, all without us even noticing that kind of a difference in the vehicle as we're setting in the vehicle being taken where we're going. So most of the time, an intersection is empty. Try watching sometime what percentage of the intersection is used. Usually it's a lane or two, and there's a lot of empty space left over. When they get that, so that space is used, It'll be as if there was a bridge or a tunnel so that the two lanes don't even touch. But that can also be done with technology. I think traffic congestion is going to go way down. We're going to get the automated cars, not a whole bunch of cars in the parking lot waiting for it, but our cars out doing something while we're busy inside whatever building we're in, and then a car arrives at just the right time to take you to your next destination. So that's a very simple one. There's other things about sensing whether or not those lights are working at all. The bulb goes out. The maintenance needed for such thing. When there's I saw one report recently where they were working on the heat. So they put in bulbs that don't heat up so much and last longer, better for the environment. And then snow came, and they had to use crews to go up and knock the snow off with the lights because they weren't heating up enough to melt the snow. So some heater was good. Knowing those things and being able to control it down to the little tiniest level of whether or not there's snow on the light and then heat up a little bit to melt it. Those things can all be done now, and the smart city can keep track of it. Planning for where do you need a route? When is it going to be congested? We love the idea of our phone being able to beep and tell us, don't go this way. You would take a different direction because there's congestion. There's work being done. There was an accident on the road. That's going to become so automatic that we don't even notice it. One, if you're in the back seat and the car is driving, you don't even need to know which route it's taking. Just know that it's worked out what's the most economical, safest, fastest route, and it's taking care of that. Water, we talked about a bit, making sure that the waste management is okay. One of the things we learned during COVID was that a test could tell whether or not the COVID virus was in wastewater, and tell how bad a city had the disease, but it's after. So it's hard. We'll get better sensors that'll be able to take care of that thing. Whether or not the air quality is a problem, down to the street you're on, what is happening there. And I know we've put a lot of effort into managing everybody to try to take care of something, whether it's a vaccine for a disease that everybody else can get, or smog control, inspections, restrictions, licenses based on the fact that we want to get the mean down. And what we could be doing is instead, for less money, be able to identify that one car in 400 is leaking out more smog than most of the rest combined. At least that works I think the number I saw was at 100. There could be one or two cars that are doing all the pollution or virtually all close to 98%, and that the rest were functioning well. And it's not a matter of hunting down offenders there. It's a matter of finding out who needs that help most. You find out that somebody has a car, they haven't had it repaired, whatever needs to be done, help them with the repair, give them a lift, whatever we will decide to do as a society, we can do. The other problems that come up, whether or not it's where are the homeless people going and what are they doing, acknowledging that's a problem. And then what do we have to do? There's probably a bed someplace that's going unused to match up with the person that's sleeping on a street, and maybe telling them go inside and find a bed is not the answer, but a lot of times that's the answer. And a smart city will be able to do things like that. Digital identity for sure. It'd be a heck of a lot easier to not have to prove who you are as you're trying to do things where you need that proof, whether that's obtain a license or appear in court or whatever like that. So the identity systems can be used benign way to help people identify and say, yes, this is me. This happened to me just yesterday. I have an account that is my money in an account, a corporation I'm involved with. And the money was in the account. We have moved the money and we think it all got moved, but we don't know whether or not there's a few dollars left over. And for some reason, just then they decided to check access. And I found that I needed documents going back 7 years ago that somebody else used to set up the account. and I needed to prove who they were, get in touch with them, they're long gone. Was never involved, overlapping with me. And the solution to that was you just got to go do something like that because I can't help. In the future, we should be able to do that. When we need to prove our identity, we'll be able to. And hopefully it allows for all the privacy we need. I know there's more people watching privacy than there are people like me talking about how great things are going to be. So good to know that's going to be possible. What I wanted to emphasize today was that your city's getting smarter, companies are getting smarter, your competition is getting smarter. The one thing we know we can't do is sit back and say, I don't want the change. And I know that's a problem. I know I feel it all the time. So things were going well. What are we doing with this change? Like, where are those new headphones? But the thing is, change is constant. It's always going to happen. And maybe it's not quite as constant as it needs to be. The it is always changing how it changes. And it is increasing and going faster. Look for smart cities, and I say support them. And from a business standpoint, look for how you can facilitate making things easier, reducing friction for your customers, for your family, wherever you're planning. Think about ways that'll reduce the friction. One less thing to worry about, and we're all going to prosper and have abundance in the future. And that's it for today's emerging technology. Be sure to like and subscribe and to keep getting more of these. And if you have an idea that you think we should be talking about, leave a comment. Let me know. I read everything I see as comments and want to improve and do a better job because there's a lot of things I see every day that I don't get to talk about on this program. I'd like to know which ones you're looking for. So drop me a line. I'm Warren Whitlock, and this is Emerging Technologies.